All praises, all praises, all praises. Shalom to everybody that's online. Um, we hope that everybody's having a good night. This is our feast of dedication. For those of you that don't know, that might be tuning in online, that might be thinking like, didn't we just celebrate dedication? No. BOW, we did a double Adar this year. All right. We did a double Adar this year. And a double Adar just simply means when you follow a lunar cycle of the calendar every 4 to 5 years, there's a double 12th month. All right, meaning there's a new moon that falls before the spring season. All right, and we can't count that new moon as New Year because the new moon that we count as New Year has to fall in spring season. All right, we have tons of videos on it, so definitely search the web. Our channel, and you can see those videos. Maybe I'll pin one of the classes Brother Iran did, which was a beautiful class explaining the double Adar, which just simply means every 4 to 5 years, if you follow a lunar cycle calendar, you're going to have a new moon that falls before the spring season, which that would not be the beginning of your new year because it has to be in the spring season. So this is why everyone who didn't keep the double Adar, their feast days are off, okay, are early. And this is why we're keeping ours now, okay, a little later. So there's classes on that. I'll pin the class once we upload this video. But today's class is the Feast of Dedication. By show of hands, whose first dedication is this? By show of hands. Oh, get the most high hand clap. Hey, well, I am honored that you're keeping it with me. All praises. That means you'll never forget me. Y'all never forget me, man. First dedication. That's special, man. And I hope you guys have a good night tonight. Drink a lot of wine, as much as you can. All right, don't get drunk in here, But if you can drink some wine, eat some food, and we're gonna feel good today. All right, it's a special day today. So I don't want to keep us too long. So I'm going to be nice, sweet, and to the point of what dedication is. So dedication is very, very simple. In layman terms, what dedication is the rededicating of the temple of the Most High God. Okay, we had to rededicate the temple because the temple was desecrated. All right, it was destroyed by our enemies. Okay, and we had to get the temple back from our enemies, and we had to rededicate it to the Most High. All right. The temple was something that was very precious to us and very sacred to us. Let's go to 1 Chronicles 28:3. Let's understand what the temple of the Most High is. Let me test the biblical scholars in here. Who built the temple of the Most High? Who? Solomon. Khan, absolutely. All right, Solomon. Why couldn't David build the temple of the Most High? No, not you, Mosh. You sitting up here, the audience. Huh? There you go. Khan. Too much blood on his hands. Exactly. All praises. Trying to see who's studying up here. All right. Go ahead, Mosh. You got that. First Chronicles 28, and start at verse 1. Yeah, you got it.
First Chronicles.
Got it.
First Chronicles.
I don't think it might be on. Let me see. Mic check. Live, you can get it.
It's on, but it's low compared to these.
Mic check.
You have to turn it up.
Turn it up a little bit. Go ahead, Mike. You can read, Live. First Chronicles.
First Chronicles chapter 28, verse 1. And David assembled all the princes of Israel, the princes of the tribes, and the captains of the companies that ministered to the king by course.
So this is King David. Let me see. Mic check. You just don't have to project. Yeah, something you got it. All right, so this is King David. All right, so let's see what King David is doing. Read up.
The princes of the tribes and the captains of the companies that ministered to the king by course, and the captains over the thousands and captains over the hundreds, and the stewards over all the substance and possession of the king and of his sons, with the officers and with the mighty men, and with all that the valiant men who unto Jerusalem.
Read.
Then David the king stood upon his feet and said, hear me, my brethren,
Mhm.
and hear my people. As for me, I had in my heart to build an house of rest for the ark of the covenant of the Lord.
So David said, I wanted to build a house of rest, right, for the Ark of the Covenant. Who knows what the Ark of the Covenant is? Anybody? Anybody? Nobody? Somebody in here know what the Ark. Caleb, what's the Ark of the Covenant? I know Caleb got it. You know?
It's where we have put the testament in there, and also to be joined like with the Most High.
Okay. So the Ark of the Covenant had the 10 Commandments in there. It also had Aaron's rod, and it also had the manna. Okay. That was in the Ark of the Covenant. Okay. And the Ark of the Covenant was sacred, and no one could touch the Ark of the Covenant but the Levites. What would happen if somebody other than the Levites touched the Ark of the Covenant? You would die. Okay. So the Ark of the Covenant was sacred. Now, before there was a temple, does anybody know what housed the Ark of the Covenant? It was housed in the Tabernacle. Okay. Y'all familiar with the Feast of Tabernacles? Okay, a tabernacle was a what?
House.
What is not a house? What's a tabernacle? It's a tent. Who kept tabernacles this year? Raise your hand. Okay, all y'all should know that. It's a tent. All right, tabernacles is a tent. And this is where the Ark of the Covenant was placed. Okay, but that is not where the Most High would keep it placed. He actually wanted a temple to hold the Ark of the Covenant, right? And to hold the area of what's known as the Holies of Holies. Okay, so this was a very sacred item to the Lord, and he needed a very sacred place to house it. Okay, read.
I had in my heart to build an house of rest for the ark of the covenant of the Lord, and for the footstool of our God, and had made ready for the building. But God said unto me, Thou shalt not build an house for my name, because thou hast been a man of war, and hast shed blood. Verse 4, Howbeit the Lord God of Israel chose me before all the house of my father to be king over Israel forever. For he hath chosen Judah to be the ruler, and of the house of Judah, the house of my father, and among the sons of my father, he liked me to make me king over all Israel.
Right. So since David could not build the Ark of the Covenant because his hands was too bloody, because David was putting them down. David was putting them to flight, right? So now, who would be responsible for actually building the temple of the Lord? Does anybody know? Who? Go ahead. Who was that? Parah? Go ahead. What you say? Who? Solomon. Khan. King Solomon was the one that was actually commissioned to actually build the temple of the Lord, right? Because in Solomon's day, there was peace. Solomon didn't have to go to war because David put all the enemies to rest. So Solomon had peace, right? So Solomon wasn't a bloody man. So the Most High God commissioned Solomon to build the temple of the Most High God. David could not do it. Why? Because he was a bloody man. All right, keep reading.
Verse 5, and of all my sons, for the Lord hath given me many sons. He hath chosen Solomon my son to sit upon the throne of the kingdom of the Lord over Israel. And he said unto me, Solomon, thy son, he shall build my house and my courts, for I have chosen him to be my son, and I will be his father. Moreover, I will establish his kingdom forever, if he be constant to do my commandments.
All right,
and
stop
my
right
judgments.
there. So Solomon was given responsibility to build the temple of the Lord. Now, this was a magnificent piece of art, I call it. When you actually go into detail of how the temple was actually constructed, it was beautiful. Completely something that your eyes have never seen before. I mean, even in the earthly realm, because we know that the Lord has something that's greater in the heavens, but we're talking about just even on earth. It was something that you guys picture your greatest the greatest mansion of a celebrity that you've ever seen. It's nothing compared to what Solomon did for the Most High God. Imagine walls, right? You see these walls with drywall? Imagine walls with solid gold. Imagine that. Walking in there and it's solid. The walls are solid gold. right? This is how it was. Matter of fact, let's get that. Let's go to First Kings. Let's read a little bit about it. Let's go to First Kings. Mosh, you could get that. You might just have to project a little bit. Let's go ahead and try you out. First Kings chapter 6, and let's start at verse 1.
First Kings chapter 6 and verse 1. And it came to pass in the 418th year after the children of Israel were come out of the land of Egypt, in the 4th year of Solomon's reign over Israel. In the month Ziph, which is the 2nd month, that he began to build the house of the Lord. And the house which King Solomon built for the Lord, the length thereof was 80 cubits.
So the house was 80 cubits. All right. How big is 80 cubits? Huh? 60. Con, who said that? Jason? Boy, Jason be studying, huh? 60 feet. All right. So when he built this house, it says that the house, right, which King Solomon built for the Lord, the length thereof was 80 cubits, which is 60 feet. All right. How big is 60 feet? Pretty big. The length of it, right? Let's keep reading. Read. Verse 2, I think. No, 3.
And the porch before the temple of the house, 20 cubits was the length thereof, according to the breadth of the house. And the 10 cubits was the breadth thereof before the house. And for the house he made windows and of narrow lights. And against the wall of the house he built chambers round about against the walls of the house round about, both of the temple and of the oracle. And he made chambers round about.
Right. So we had chambers, right? Different areas. He had lights. You see how we had these lights like this? King Solomon had lights all around inside the temple, right? In different chambers, meaning different areas where you could go inside the temple, right? Temple was big. It was a large amount of space. Let's skip. I don't want to read all of this, but let's skip and let's read verse 21. Read verse 21.
Verse 21. And Solomon overlaid the house within the pure gold.
Within with pure gold. So Solomon laid, so when you go inside, that's like if I go inside your house and your house is nothing but pure gold. Pure gold. All right. Read.
And he made a partition by the chains of gold before the oracle. And he overlaid it with gold. And the whole house was overlaid with gold until he had finished all the house. Also the whole altar that was by the oracle he overlaid with gold.
So gold was everywhere. Literally, you know, gold. What ain't it a song? Gold, everything.
All gold,
yeah, all gold, everything. Literally, it was all gold, everything. When he walked in there, it was literally the walls, the floor, all gold. Now you know why the heathens wanted to always go towards the temple when they took us over, right? You take over the temple, it was nothing full with all gold, right? Read.
And within the oracle he made 2 cherubims of olive tree, each 10 cubits high, and the 5 cubits.
So how big is 10 cubits? Anybody? Somebody look it up. How big is 10? So he had the seraphim, right? Which is an angelic being. It was 10 cubits. How big is 10 cubits? Go ahead, who got it? 10 cubits. All you gotta do is Google how big is 10 cubits. Anybody? We're gonna get Israel involved today. 15 feet. So, Chad, how tall are you out? Like 7 foot. Now imagine a 15-foot statue of a cherubim.
That's 2 of him.
That's 2 Chads. That's 2 Chads, right?
A little bit more.
Well, that's a little bit more actually. Now imagine you walking in the temple and you see that a cherubim that's 15 feet high. Right? Read.
5 cubits was the one wing of the cherub,
Mm-hmm.
and 5 cubits the other wing of the cherub.
Mm-hmm.
From the outermost part of the one wing unto the outermost part of the other were 10 cubits.
Mm-hmm.
And the other cherub was 10 cubits. Both in cherubims were of one measure and one size.
So there was two of them, large in stature, large. So when you walk in the temple, you see this large angelic being. Now, why is the cherubim significant? They guard. When the Most High, normally when you see a cherubim, it's guarding what the Most High wants them to guard. Like when Salakia, when Adam transgressed, what did the Most High place to protect the tree? Cherubims. All right, cherubims. So the temple was no joke. It was gold everywhere, right? Read verse 30. Watch this. Go down to verse 30.
Verse 30. The floor of the house he overlaid with gold, within and without.
So guess what was on the floor? It was gold on the floor. Y'all ever walked in the house and it was pure gold on the floor? Y'all ever seen that? Y'all ever seen that in a mansion or a rapper house or something? Nah, they might have like some minks or whatever they got, rugs, some carpet, but gold on the floor? Pure gold though. Solid. You know how shiny it was? You look down at the floor, you see your reflection in the floor. So it's gold everywhere. How bright was that room? How bright was that? And not to mention, the menorah was in there too. The menorah was big and it was pure gold too. The menorah was like my height. Now, you might think, well, what's that kind of short? But a pure gold menorah, that's my height? Imagine this, my height. Pure gold. You find that, you just came up. You know what I'm saying? So the temple was no joke. All right, the temple was no joke. So the temple was something that was very important to us. Solomon, you know, he decked it out, right? So let's get 2 Chronicles 6. Live, you can get that 2 Chronicles 6. Now, more importantly was, all right, let me ask this question. Who can answer this? What was the purpose of the temple other than housing the Ark of the Covenant? Anybody? Anybody want to take a guess at it? Offering. Okay, go ahead, sis. Oh, you was gonna say offering? He beat you to it? Okay, offering. Any? Huh? Okay, worship. Okay, those are all right. Anything else? Services of God. Okay. Calm. Anybody else? All of those are right. Communication between man and the Most High. That is how the Most High communicated with Israel, through the temple. If you wanted to, back in the days of Israel, if you wanted to hear something from the Lord, if you want to hear something from the Lord, you had to travel to the temple. You had to travel there, go to the priest, offer an offering to the priest, and then the Lord will give the priest a message from the Lord. Or if all Israel needed to hear from the Lord, so things like, should we go to war, things of that nature, the Lord will speak to the priest using the holy temple. All right, so the temple was a direct line of communication between the nation of Israel and the Most High God. That's a very, very important place, because if we can't communicate with the Most High God, how do we know what to do? How do we know how to serve the Lord? We don't know how to serve him if we can't communicate with him. So if somebody was to destroy the temple of the Most High God, what are they actually destroying? Our communication with the Most High. All right. This is very, very important. See, in America, we're not taught to view things such as like temples or tabernacles as sacred. In America, we're like a lawless people. There's nothing sacred. Everything is just polluted. But this was something that was very sacred to our people in regards to communication with us and the Lord. All right. So let's read that. 2 Chronicles 6 and start at verse 1.
2 Chronicles chapter 6, verse 1. Then said Solomon, the Lord have said that he would dwell in the thick darkness, but I have built an house of habitation for thee, and a place for thy dwelling forever.
So Solomon built a place for the Most High to dwell, right? Read.
And the king turned his face and blessed the whole congregation of Israel. And all the congregation of Israel stood. And he said, Blessed be the Lord God of Israel, who have with his hands fulfilled that which he spake with his mouth to my father David, saying, Since the day that I have brought forth my people out of the land of Egypt, I chose no city among all the tribes of Israel to build an house in, that my name might be there. Neither chose I any man to be a ruler over my people Israel, but I have chosen Jerusalem.
So where was the temple placed? It was in Jerusalem. All right. The temple was placed in Jerusalem. Okay, that's where the temple was. That's where the Most High. There you go.
You could turn that down a little bit.
Yeah. So that's where it was. Okay, in Jerusalem. All right. The Lord placed a sacred place, or a sacred understanding, or sacred meaning in that land by placing his temple there. That's what he wanted. That's what he did. So that's where we were stationed at. So it's very important to understand this next part. Read.
Verse 6. But I have chosen Jerusalem that my name might be there. I have chosen David to be over my people Israel. Now it was in the heart of David, my father, to build an house for the name of the Lord God of Israel. But the Lord said to David, my father, For as much as it was in thine heart to build an house for my name, thou didst well in that it was in thine heart. Notwithstanding, thou shalt not build the house, but thy son, which shall come forth out of thy loins, he shall build the house for my name. The Lord therefore hath performed his word that he has spoken.
Now, the temple housed the name of the Lord. It was a symbolic representation of being where the Lord was dwelling. Now, we know not the fullness of the Lord, all right, but it was a representation of how the Lord will dwell amongst the nation of Israel. Okay, so Solomon built this place for the Lord, and it was sacred, and the name of the Lord was in this place. Okay, now I know we are so far removed. When you hear the name of the Lord was in a place, we don't know the meaning of that. It's just kind of like cliche to say, oh, the name of the Lord was there. We don't really understand the power and the magnitude of what that actually means, that the name of the Lord was actually in a sacred place. All right, so let's go from there. Let's go to 1 Kings 8:47. So let me ask this question. Why do we pray facing towards the east? Anybody? Go ahead, Jason.
Because it's facing Jerusalem.
Khan is facing Jerusalem. And where is Jerusalem toward to us? The east. All right. So no, we're not facing the east to Mecca. All right. No, we're not facing the east because that's where Africa is. All right. We're facing the east because Jerusalem is there. All right. And give me that precept. Jerusalem is the mother of us. Give me that. Yeah, you got it. Oh, no, I can get it. You can give me
First one.
Yeah, 1 Kings 8:47. You hold that. Log, get that.
Galatians chapter 4, verse 26. But Jerusalem, which is above, is free, which is the mother of us all.
All right, Jerusalem is the mother of us all. Okay. Why did it say Jerusalem is the mother of us all? Because when you get into the coordinates of what a Garden of Eden was, it's all in that same landmass. This is why Esau is fighting for that land right now. This is why in the Middle East, the Palestinians are fighting for that land. Why? Because that land is sacred and it is special. Okay. So Jerusalem is the mother of us all. And now read 1 Kings 8:47.
1 Kings chapter 8, verse 47. Yet if they shall bethink themselves in the land whither they were carried captives, and repent and make supplication unto thee, in the land of them that carried them captives.
Now, Solomon said, look, Lord, if our enemies take us captive and we go into slavery, read,
saying, we have sinned and have done perversely, we have committed wickedness, and so return until thee with all their heart.
Now, if we sin to the Lord and the Lord takes us in slavery, in captivity, didn't the Lord take us into captivity? Solomon said, look, Lord, if you take us into captivity and we're in our enemies, right, in the land of our captors, but we start to change our ways and try to get back to you, what did he say? Read.
With all their soul.
And with all our soul, we want to turn back and serve the Most High. Read.
In the land of their enemies, which led them away captive, and pray unto thee toward their land, which thou givest unto their fathers, the city which thou hast chosen, and the house which I have built for thy name.
Now it says when we bethink ourselves and we try to turn back to the ways of the Most High God, which way should we face towards to communicate with the Most High God? Towards Jerusalem. This is why when we pray, we face the east. When we pray, we face the east because that is what Solomon commanded us to do if we was to go into captivity and go into the land of our captors. So no matter where we are, if you're to the west of it or if you're to the east of it, no matter what direction you go in, you face towards Jerusalem. It just so happened that Jerusalem is towards the west of us, the east of us, so we face towards the east. But if Jerusalem was towards the west of us, which way would we face? We will face west, right? So this is why we face towards Jerusalem. How many of y'all knew that? Or the east? How many of y'all knew that? Raise your hand if you knew that. If you didn't know that, now you know. All right. Everything we do is biblical based. All right. So this is why we face Jerusalem. We pray because we want the Lord to hear our prayer because that is where his name is. Okay. Was that 48? All of 48?
Yeah.
Read 49.
Then hear thy their prayer and their supplication in heaven, thy dwelling place, and maintain their cause.
So you remember when we used to pray and we used to bow our heads and close our eyes and get on our knees, but we was not facing towards Jerusalem? The Lord wasn't, in a sense, the Lord wasn't hearing our prayers. Why? Because he hears your prayers when you face towards his city. All right. So the Most High had mercy on us, of course, and now we're sitting in this room, but now you have a greater understanding and a greater feeling of communicating with the Most High God when you face towards the east. Right? This is why we face towards the east. We pray because we literally want the Lord. It's like we're talking to the Lord directly. We're facing him because that's where his name is. And it says, then he will hear our prayers. All right. So let's scratch that. So now I just want to give y'all a brief. It's a lot, and I don't want to keep us too long, but I want to give you guys a brief understanding of the basics of the temple because the temple was very important. And this is why the other nations sought to destroy us. All right. This is why time and time again, the other nations always came against the temple of the Lord. Every nation from Babylon to the Persians and Medes actually allowed us to rebuild our temple. But from the Greeks, which that's where the story is centered, right, to even the Romans. All right, you can look up an image called the Arch of Titus. That is an image of the Romans going into Jerusalem and destroying the temple. They always wanted to destroy the temple. Why? Because the temple does what? It's how we communicate to the Most High. So if you cut the communication off from the children of Israel and their God, what are you cutting off? The Lord. So now the Lord's not speaking to us. Let's get Judah chapter 5, verse 6. Yeah. Lot, you get that one. Yeah. Judah 5. Start at verse 6. Now, this is going to prove to you that your enemies know you. I'm going to tell you guys this right now. Your enemies know you better than you know yourself. All right? Your enemies know you. Let me show you what your enemies know about you. Let's read verse 5.
Verse 5.
6 and 5.
The book of Judith and your Apocrypha, chapter 6, verse 5. And thou, archer and hireling of Ammon, which have spoken these words in the day of thine iniquity, shall see my face no more from this day, until I take vengeance of this nation that came out of Egypt. And then shall the sword of mine army and the multitude of them that serve me pass through thy sides, and thou shalt fall among their slain when I return. Now therefore my servant shall bring thee back into the hill country.
Actually, I'm sorry, Salakia. It's actually chapter 5, verse 6. Salakia.
Okay. Chapter 5, verse 6. This people are descended of the Chaldeans.
All right, so Holofernes, all right, Holofernes, excuse me if I'm mispronouncing that, was a captain. He was a captain of the Assyrian army, and he actually wanted to go and do war with the children of Israel. So he asked the people that were around about Israel, what are their weaknesses? What are their strengths? What do I need to know about these people before I go to war against them? All right. So this is what was said, all right, when he asked and inquired of the children of Israel to go to war against them, right? Read.
Verse 7. And they sojourned here heretofore in Mesopotamia.
So where do the children of Israel descend from? The ancient Chaldeans, right? In Mesopotamia. So he's giving a full breakdown of the history of Israel. He's saying, look, these people, this is a servant of the captain, of the Assyrian captain. He's like, look, these people, they descend from the Chaldeans, from ancient Mesopotamia. This is where these people descend from, right? Read.
Because they would not follow the gods of their fathers, which were in the land of Chaldea.
But they didn't worship the gods of the Chaldeans. They left worshiping the gods of the Chaldeans. And what happened? Read.
For they left the way of their ancestors and worshiped the God of heaven, the God whom they knew. So they cast them out from the face of their gods, and they fled into Mesopotamia and sojourned there many days.
So they cast off the gods of the Chaldeans and of their family, right, at the time. Who was the first one that started to worship the God of the heavens? Abraham. Okay. We know it goes back from Adam and Adam to Noah, but to bring it back into the connection with the covenant, Abraham, right? Abraham was called out of where? The Chaldees, Ur of the Chaldees. And when he was called out of Ur and the Chaldees, the Most High said, I will give you a land flowing with what? Milk and honey, and come serve me. So Abraham left following the gods of the Chaldeans. And what happened after that? Read.
Verse 9. Then their God commanded them to depart from the place where they sojourned, and to go into the land of Canaan, where they dwelt, and were increased with gold and silver.
So after we left the ancient Chaldeans, we traveled to the land of Canaan, and we dwelt in the land of Canaan. And what happened in the land of Canaan? We were very prosperous. We had gold, we had silver, right? Lot was even prosperous. Remember Lot? Y'all know about Lot? Abraham and Lot, they increased, right? And they grew, right? And what happened after that? Read.
And with very much cattle.
And with very much cattle. Read.
But when a famine covered all the land of Canaan, they went down into Egypt and sojourned there.
Now, when did that happen? When did we go into Egypt when the famine hit Canaan? Joseph. There you go. Trying to see if y'all been studying. Joseph. All right. Y'all, whoever seen the Prince, not the Prince of Egypt, whoever seen Joseph, Prince of James. Ever seen that cartoon? All right. Yeah, about Joseph. Y'all need to watch that. Y'all need to watch some movies and see some cartoons, man. Y'all need to do something. We need to have a movie night. We need to have a Hebrew movie night. This sucks that y'all ain't seen no movies, man. Who seen it? Raise your hand if you seen it. Dang shame. Only 3 people in here raise their hands. But it's all good. What y'all watching? Fast and the Furious? Joseph, Prince of Dreams. You seen that? I know the kids seen it. All right. Hey, stop watching Fast and Furious and Star Wars, man. Y'all need to watch some biblical movies, right? So we left Canaan and we went into Egypt, right? And this was during the time of Joseph. There was a famine in the land of Canaan, and Joseph got all of his brethren, and they came into the land of Egypt. So now he's this captain that is inquiring of Achor, right, is getting this information about the people of Israel. He's getting a whole rundown and a whole history of the importance of what or who is this people Israel, right? Read.
Verse 10. But when a famine covered all the land of Canaan, they went down into Egypt and sojourned there, while they were nourished and became there a great multitude.
Now, what happened when we were in Egypt after the time of Joseph? We multiplied. Then what are we coming up? Then after that, we multiplied. What time period are we coming up now in Egypt? Moses. All right. We multiplied. Then this is where Moses is coming up, right? Read.
So that one could not number their nation. Therefore, the king of Egypt rose up against them and dealt subtly with them and brought them low with laboring and brick. What did the king of Egypt do? Slayed all the firstborn, right? And after he slayed all the firstborn, he made them work with labor in mortar and brick, right? Read. And made them slaves. Then they cried unto their God, and he smote all the land of Egypt. But then when they cried unto their God, what happened?
He smote all the land of Egypt. Says we cried to our God. What are we doing right now? We crying to our God, right? I mean, at least I am. I'm trying to get up out of here. I don't know about y'all. Y'all like y'all $8 an hour? Oh wait, y'all bougie now. $15? Oh, okay. He about to raise it to 17. Oh, okay, y'all. My master good to me. I get paid $17 an hour. Some of y'all real bougie. I get $25 an hour. Look, I don't want to get slavery. I'm trying to have rulership. So we need to do some more crying. All right, we need to do some more serving. So when you're keeping these feast days like this, really do it with your heart. Don't just be in here because it's just another feast. No, we want the Lord to hear us. So when we face towards the east and we praying, you better really take the prayer serious. You understand? Because we trying to get up out of here. Because when we cry to our God, it does what, Reed?
Then they cried unto their God, and he smote all the land of Egypt with incurable plagues.
And he smote the land of Egypt with incurable plagues, Reed.
So the Egyptians cast them out of their sight, and God dried the Red Sea before them.
And the Egyptians was like, man, y'all get up out of here, man. Get up out of here. Y'all know about that, right? Everybody know about who know about Moses? Raise your hand. Y'all, come on, man. Everybody in here better raise their hand. Two, I better see 3 hands up. All right, everybody know about Moses. So Moses delivered us out of the land of Egypt. Now, this is important history, read.
And brought them to Mount Sinai, and Cades Barnea, and cast forth all that dwelt in the wilderness. So they dwelt in the land of the Amorites, and they destroyed by their strength all of them of Esabon. And passing over Jordan, they possessed all the hill country.
And when we went into the wilderness, guess what? We was slaying everybody. Everybody that we was encountering at that time, we was putting them all to flight. Because who was with us? The Most High God was with Israel at the time, right? Read.
Verse 16. And they cast forth before them the Canaanite, the Perizzite, the Jebusite, and the Sychemite, and all the Jebusites. And they dwelt in that country many days. And while they sinned not before their God.
Now, this is the important part, Israel. I need you guys to pay attention to this. Read.
And while they sinned not before their God, they prospered.
Now, when we did not sin before our God, we prospered. Meaning, anything that we set our minds to do, we got it. Go ahead, sis. You got a question?
Can you just repeat that scripture?
You want to read it again? Read it again?
You have to read it.
What verse? Yeah, tell them where verse. Read it again and tell them what verse you at.
Judith chapter 5, verse 17. And while they sinned not before their God, they prospered, because the God that hateth iniquity was with them.
That's the point, Israel. Why do you think Esau is trying so hard to get you to sin? Why do you think every commercial on TV damn near got somebody naked on it? Or somebody homosexual? Why do you think this? Why do you think everything is catered to sexual desires and some type of wickedness, or Christmas, or Easter, or something to get you to be wicked? Why do you think that? It keeps us for what? Away from the Lord. That's the point. That is the point. Why do you think the Esau or the white man tells our sisters it's okay to dress and be provocative and naked? Why do you think the world tells our young men and our boys they can be gangbangers and killers and thugs? Why do you think they tell us this? Why do you think they play the same song? I got you, sis. Why do you think they play the same song over and over and over again about murdering your brother? Because they know something that you don't know about yourself. They know as long as your Israel is wicked, they can rule. Right? Go ahead, sis. Did you want to say something?
I was just going to say that Wisdom of Solomon is one of the stories that, like, we're speaking about how wisdom cannot dwell in a man or in a person.
Yeah.
So that's like what you're saying.
Yes. The Most High, but I'm even going a little bit more further. The Lord will cast the entire, but you're right. The Lord cannot dwell in a malicious soul, and specifically with Israel, he's going to cast the whole nation off. So guess what? If everybody in here, like that's sitting in here is wicked, and us up here, we righteous, Guess who all going to captivity? All of us going to captivity. Y'all, wait, what? Hey, look, and guess what? If Jacob mess up, the Lord gonna say, who did it? Y'all better find who did it, and y'all better bring him to me and kill him before me. If not, all of y'all messed up. Didn't that happen during the time of Joshua? Come on. Did the man he stole the Babylonian garment? And the whole nation of Israel was going through, went to battle, and half of them died. Joshua was like, what happened, Lord? The Lord was like, you got somebody that got sin amongst you. You need to get him out. I ain't hearing y'all right now. They have to seek him out, get him. They have to put away with his whole family and him. And the animals. Yeah, God, I forgot what they do. Buried them in rocks and burnt them. Yeah. Hey, the Lord ain't playing. The Lord is not my children. Peter, grab my hand, walk on the water. No, that's not God. That's not God. You better read the Bible. Don't let Christianity trick you. Y'all better read the Bible. Why you think, I mean, that's another topic for another story. But why you think all these rappers getting killed like they getting killed? That's judgment of the Lord. I better wake up. They dropping like flies. I did a video, 200 rappers dead in 1 year. Y'all better wake up. Y'all think that ain't God? See, the problem is Esau told you God don't do that. So you don't think that tornado that just killed all that community? Y'all don't think that's God. Y'all think that's Mother Nature. Hurricane Sandy. No, that's Hurricane Yahweh.
They think it's the devil.
Yeah. Or they think the devil brought that hurricane and killed us. No, God did that. Y'all better read the Bible. All right? That's real. So Most High said, hey, if they with me, let's read one more time.
God. Judith chapter 5, verse 17. And while they sinned not before their God, they prospered, because the God that hateth iniquity was with them. But when they departed from the way which he appointed them, they were destroyed in many battles very sore, and were led captives into a land that was not theirs. And the temple of their God was cast to the ground, and their cities was taken by the enemy. So
Holofernes, I can never pronounce the dude's name. Holofernes, I think that's his name. Am I right? Holofernes. Y'all say it right? So this cat, anyway, this dude, he trying to inquire of the nation of Israel. He like, man, what's going on? So they telling him like, look, like, who are these people that think they can come against the Assyrian army? That's what he talking about. So they telling him like, look, these people come from the ancient Chaldeans, and after that, let me tell you what happened. Then they went to Egypt. Then when they went to Egypt, they got out of it. They destroyed Egypt. Then they went into the wilderness. They started putting everybody to flight. And the reason why they was able to do that, Captain, was because they had God with them. But if they don't have God with them, then they went into captivity, right? And watch this, read.
Verse 19. But now are they returned to their God.
But he like, but look, they with their God now. And look, when they not with their God, they go into captivity. But I think right now, Cat, they with their God, right? Read.
And are come up from the places where they were scattered, and have possessed Jerusalem, where their sanctuary is, and are seated in the hill country, for it was desolate.
So where's the sanctuary and where's that hill country? Jerusalem. Read.
Now therefore, my Lord and governor.
He like, look, hey Captain, you a Lord and you a governor. I respect you. But I'm gonna tell you this real quick, read.
If there be any error in this people, and they sin against their God, let us consider that this shall be their ruin.
He like, look, if they sin, I'm with you. Let's go get them. Because if they sin, then what? The Most High ain't with them. So, hey, look, Cat, if their God is not with them, hey, I'm with you. Let's go to battle all day long. Read.
And let us go up, and we shall overcome them. But if there be no iniquity in their nation.
But hey, I'm telling you this right now, Captain. If there be no iniquity in their nation, read.
Let my Lord now pass by.
He said, hey, you might want to just overlook them and pass by them. You might want to, now you don't want to catch that fade. Leave them alone. Now imagine you tell a captain of a powerful army that.
Man.
He didn't conquer all the sea countries, all the countries that's round about Israel, from the Amorites to the Canaanites to the Girgashites. He didn't conquer all of those nations, and he feeling himself right now. He like, man, look, who can stand before me? And then this one dude, right, which is the captain of army, come to him and say, hey, look, you might want to leave Israel alone, though. How you think that captain gonna feel? He gonna be hot. And then if you continue to read the story of Judah, you'll find out what happened to him. He got put to death. Then he didn't listen. But the point is, when we have our sanctuary, when we have our temple, when we have our communication with our Heavenly Father, who can see us? Nobody. So this is why they got smart. So let's go from there. Let's go to 1 Maccabees chapter 1 and 30. Now let's get into the nitty gritty. All right. Let's go to 1 Maccabees. Let's get into the nitty gritty of dedication now. All right. So how important is the temple, family? Very important. All right. Let's get 1 Maccabees chapter 1, verse 30. Mosh, you can read verse 30.
1 Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 30.
Now, who knows about Antiochus? All right. All right. If you don't know about Antiochus, this is during the time of the Greeks. All right. Actually, Mosh, read verse 1 Maccabees 1 and 1 real quick. 1 Maccabees 1 and 1.
1 Maccabees chapter 1 and verse 1.
Uh-huh.
And it happened after Alexander, son of Philip,
Uh-huh.
and the Macedonian,
Uh-huh.
who came out of the land of
Shittim. Mm-hmm.
had smitten Darius, king of Persia, and Medes, and that he reigned in his stead in the first over Greece.
So now you have Greece, right? Or Alexander. This is Alexander the so-called Great, or we call him Alexander the Greek, or what you gonna say?
The freak.
The freak. There you go. So you know how Giannis be calling himself the Greek freak? Nah, Alexander the Great was really a Greek freak. You know, you can read about him. I ain't gonna get too, graphic, but he was definitely a crazy dude. All right. And so he actually conquered the Persians and the Medes. All right. Now, when you continue to read Alexander the Greek, he actually died. And when he died, he parted his land up into a what? What kind of kingdom? How many ways did he split his land up? I already gave you the answer. 4, right? What is it? What is that called? What is a kingdom split in 4 called? A tetrarchy. All right. So he split his kingdom up into 4. And who are those generals? Anybody know? Ptolemy, Seleucus, Cassander. Who else? Nice try, Lysimachus. Yeah, nice try. I like that though. You tried,
I always say the same thing.
Yeah, Lysimachus, but it's Lysimachus. God. So he split his kingdom up into 4. But after those 4, right, there was another man that came up, and what is his name? Antiochus. Now, when Antiochus came up, he was worse than all 4 of them. He was putting them down. All right. So now let's go back to 1 Maccabees chapter 30. So when Antiochus finally conquered, and then he set his sights to conquer the land of Israel, right? This is what he did. Read verse 30.
Verse 30. He spake peaceable words unto them, but all was deceit. For when they had given him credence, he fell suddenly into the city.
Now, he went to Jerusalem and he spoke peaceable with them. What does our enemy do? Speak peaceable words. Hey, I'm your friend. Hey, I just want to talk to you guys. I don't want no war. He spoke peaceable to the nation of Israel. But after he spoke peaceable to the nation of Israel, what did he do? It says he fell upon them. He fell suddenly upon the city. Why did he fall upon the city? We'll read it. We'll find out. Read.
And smote it very sore, and destroyed much people of Israel.
And he smote the city, right? He destroyed the city and much people in Israel. Read.
When he had taken the spoils of the city, he set it on fire.
And he set the city on fire. Okay, read.
And pulled down the houses and walls thereof, in every side. But the women and children took they captive and possessed the cattle. They then built the city of David with a great and strong wall, and with mighty towers, and made it a stronghold for them. Now,
I want you guys to really understand the wickedness of this man. The name of the Lord, Jerusalem, where the sanctuary is, where the temple is. Didn't we just read a little bit about that in Kings and Samuel? He literally went into the capital, where God is dwelling. He destroyed the city, and then he put up high groves. You know what a grove is? A grove is where you worship, set up for idol worship. So he took and destroyed the holy city of Jerusalem, where God's name is, and then he put the name of idol gods there. Y'all understand how disrespectful that is? But he didn't stop there, though. What did he do? Read.
And they put therein a sinful nation, wicked men.
And then he put wicked men in the city. So then he killed Jerusalem, destroyed Jerusalem, destroyed the city, and then he put wicked people there. So whatever wickedness you want to fester up in your mind, he put those people there. So you know how LA is wicked with a whole bunch of wicked people? You got the trannies, you got the homosexuals, you got the prostitutes, you got the all wicked manner of people. Put it in the holy city, right? Watch this, read.
And fortified themselves therein.
And they made it their own home, read.
They stored it also with armor and victuals. And when they had gathered together the spoils of Jerusalem, they laid them up there. And so they became a sore snare. For it was a place to lie in wait against the sanctuary and an evil adversary to Israel.
What's the sanctuary? The temple. All right. They laid it up and made it evil, right? So that place that Solomon built with all of the solid gold and where the name of the Lord is, they made it evil, right? Read.
Thus they shed innocent blood on every side of the sanctuary.
And then you know what they did? They killed people and then put the blood all on the sanctuary. So can you imagine a place full of decked out with gold and the cherubim that we read about briefly, and all the floors, and then the mercy seat and the Ark of the Covenant, and then I kill some of the brothers in here and I pour their blood all over everywhere. You know how nasty blood is? How does the Most High feel about blood? It's defiled. So imagine them killing men and putting their blood everywhere. Right? Read.
Every side of the sanctuary and defiled it. And so much that the inhabitants of Jerusalem fled because of them. Whereupon the city was made an habitation of strangers. It became strange to those that were born in her. And her own children left her. Her sanctuary was laid waste.
So the sanctuary was laid waste. They literally destroyed it, but they didn't stop there. They did worse things. Continue.
Her sanctuary was laid waste like a wilderness. Her feasts were turned into mourning. Her Sabbaths into reproach. Her honor into contempt. As had been her glory, so was her dishonor increased, and her excellency was turned into mourning.
So what happened? The Sabbath was turned into a reproach. The excellency was turned into mourning. All of the dignified things that Israel did for the Most High in the sanctuary was turned into evil. All right? Because they destroyed it, completely wiped out the sanctuary. Right? Read.
Moreover, King Antiochus wrote to the whole kingdom that all should be one people, and everyone should leave his laws. So all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king.
So then he said, and we're going to leave the laws of the Most High God. Leave the laws of the Most High God, and everybody become under one law. Does that sound familiar? What does that sound like? That sound exactly. There you go. It sounds like America. It sounds like democracy. those people over there in the Middle East, those women are getting treated bad. We have to go stop them and give them the right to be homosexual. That's what they're doing. They shouldn't get stoned for being, they shouldn't get killed for that. They shouldn't be modest. The women should be able to show their body if they want. We have to go over there and make them, let them do that. That's democracy. What is democracy? The freedom to do what? Whatever you want to be a demon. I like that. Who said that? Democracy is to be a demon. Right? You can't do right though. Right? It's so funny because you can do everything in America, but as soon as you want to do right, and as soon as you want to have some chastity, the sisters put on the dress, the sisters cover their body, the brothers put away the blue and the red rags. Now you weird. Right? You funny looking, you strange. But if it's anything dealing with wickedness, oh yeah, that's what we want to do. That's our democracy. Funny that the brother said it, demonocracy. That's what it is. Spread wickedness all over the world. So what did Antiochus do? Antiochus did the same thing. He said, look, we're going to spread all wickedness all over the world, and everybody will be one people and one nation under the Greek Empire. Watch this, read.
Yeah, many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols.
And you know what some of the cool Israelites did? Hey, I don't know about y'all, but I'm about to go sacrifice to idols. I don't know about y'all. Y'all tripping. I'm about to go over there. Just like our people today, right? Yeah, this is not that serious. Y'all going too deep. It's just for the kids.
It don't matter about his skin color.
Yeah. It don't matter about his color. Why you got so much hate? It's funny because it's only why you got so much hate, but nobody talks about all of the killing and the murder that we've been through in the past 100, 200 years we've been in America. We just got to forget about that and move on. Turn the other cheek. Forget about it. Forget about Rosewood. Y'all ever seen that movie Rosewood? That was a real thing that happened. Forget about all the massacres that took place in the South. Forget about the thousands of lynchings that happened. Forget about all of that. That really wasn't that long ago. In my grandmother's days. Forget about all of that. Forget about all the police brutality, which is funny because they try to downplay that. But me and my wife was talking today, and we was talking about the Citizens Act. Police kill people all the time. It just a lot of it don't go unnoticed. Download the Citizens Act. I think the police just stopped somebody yesterday. It's not on the news though. You know what they put on the news though? Cardi B, Nicki Minaj. They get you blinded with entertainment. Show you Cardi B. They don't want you to think about all of the pain and all of the murders that's going on within this very city or within your hometown or within this state. They want you to only focus on the fun of over-sexualization and being able to do drugs and do whatever you want to do. As long as you're submitting to the rule of America. It's the same thing the Greeks said. They said, look, you can do whatever you want. Because the Greeks also set up places of nakedness in Jerusalem. Gymnasiums, that's where the word comes from. Place of nakedness, Greek word, right? Set it up. Y'all can do whatever y'all want. Just don't serve the God of Israel. Right? Watch this, read.
And profane the Sabbath. For the king had sent letters by messengers into Jerusalem in one of the cities of Judah that they should follow the strange laws of the land.
He's like, look, why do you think they're trying so hard to get, why do you think Antiochus is trying so hard to get the Israelites to break the laws of the Most High God? Because he knows if he gets them to break the laws of the Most High God, that he will take them over. And if he takes them over, he knows that I have power and I have rulership now. So he's trying to force them to break the laws of the Most High God. Read.
And forbid burnt offerings and sacrifice and drink offerings in the temple.
So he forbid drink offerings and sacrifices in the temple. Read.
And that they should profane the Sabbath in the festival days.
And it says, and that they shall profane the Sabbath and the festival days. That's why y'all better be careful. Don't let Christianity tell you ain't got to keep the Sabbaths or the feast days of the Lord no more. How is it that all of these people, they died trying to stand up for the laws and the commandments of the Most High God, but then all of a sudden when Christ come back, you ain't got to do it no more? Think about that for a second. So you telling me the Maccabees, they died trying to keep the Sabbath, but then Christ comes and says, you ain't got to do it no more. That means they died in vain. Why did they die for Christ just to come say, you ain't got to keep it no more? Now we under Christ, brother. We ain't got to do that. Then why did they die for doing it? We're not talking about they got killed by their enemies for standing up for the Sabbath. So why God let that innocent blood be shed? And then God tells you, you ain't got to do it no more. Does that even sound right? It don't sound right because it seems like innocent blood was shed and nobody cares about the lives that stood up for the Sabbath, for the feast days, for the days of the Lord. But then we keep Christmas so hard. So it's okay to keep Christmas, but when I tell you I want to keep the feast of the Lord, you tell me we ain't got to do that no more. If anything, if I was a real Bible believer, I'm going to do what the Bible said do. Hey, the Bible said keep this, I'm going to keep it and honor it because the Lord honors it. You know why the Maccabees gave their life for the feast days? Because the Lord honors them, honors the feast days. The Lord honors dedication. He honors this day because on this day, you're going to see what happened. Watch this, read.
Verse 46, they pollute the sanctuary and holy people, set up altars and groves and chapels of idols, and sacrifice swine's flesh. And
they sacrifice what?
Swine's flesh.
They sacrifice what?
Swine's flesh.
Why do you think they sacrifice? What is swine? Pig. Why do you think they sacrifice swine's flesh? Because the Lord hates it, but then he tells you to eat it today. So you telling me back then, they to disrespect God back then, they sacrificed swine flesh, but then Christ came and now you can eat swine. That sounds like somebody deceiving you. Right. If it was enough for our enemies, why do you think, who's our enemies today in this land? Esau is our enemy. And now he got you believing that you can eat swine's flesh. He just did a little, he just did the game a little bit better. See, back then it was forcing you. Now they advertise it to you and make it taste good. Put bacon on everything. Bacon on ice cream. Bacon on donuts. Bacon on chocolate. Is there anything that don't have bacon on it? Huh? Somebody said, hey, it's bacon on everything. Why do you think it's bacon on everything? Huh? Keep you in sin. Why is pork the delicacy in America? Yeah, all nasty food is delicacy. My wife gonna kill me if I say this word wrong. Shrimp. I got it. All right, I said it right. Crab, pork feet, pork ear, pork skin, pork snout, pork testicles, chitlins, a pork chop, ham hock. I eat everything. Our people, and then you know, yeah, pig feet, pickle pig feet. Y'all heard of the pickle pig feet, huh? Y'all from the South? My people, pickle pig feet. Yeah, my wife's grandma literally got jars of pickle pig feet in her house. Facts. Why do you think they promote pig the way they do? Why do you think they promote all of this? Then you wonder why high blood pressure and all of that is in the black communities, black and Latino communities, right? But the reason why this is happening is because they're trying to defile us, right, Reed?
And unclean beasts, that they should also leave their children uncircumcised and make their souls abominable with all manner of uncleanness and profanation to the end that they might forget the law.
So it says that they should do what? They should leave their children uncircumcised. You know what they're trying to do now in America, right? Huh? They're trying to ban circumcision. Yeah, it's cruelty. It's child endangerment. It's natural. You should not cut that off. Look it up. Google it right now. They're trying to ban. You literally got petitions to ban circumcision. I'm telling y'all, this is real. This is the same thing. Look, history repeats itself. They're doing the same thing. They destroyed the temple. They profaned it. They sacrificed swine flesh on it. They did the whole nine to pollute the nation of Israel. And they doing the same thing today to pollute you. Right? Watch this, read.
To the end that they might forget the law and change all the ordinance. And whosoever would not do according to the commandment of the king.
And if you didn't want to do this, read.
He said he should die.
He should do what?
He should die.
He should die. Did they die for the laws? So what we got to do, Israel, we got to die for the law. Now, don't trick yourself and you can't take off for the Sabbath, but you think you're going to die for the law. You got a lot of Hebrews running around, I'm going to die for the Lord, but you can't even take off on the Sabbath. Don't trick yourself. Don't trick yourself. Don't play yourself. You ain't playing the Most High. You know what? But we in captivity, brother. We got to do what we got, man. To hell with this captivity. I got to serve the Most High before everything. Hey, anybody diss the Most High, I gotta go with the Lord. Don't get it wrong. Nobody in here want to die, but guess what? You got to stand up for righteousness in the Lord. Ain't we trying to get back to Zion? We're trying to get back to the Most High, right? Okay, so we got to keep dedication. I don't care if it falls on a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, work. I don't care. It can be a whole work day. Yeah, I ain't coming into work tomorrow. It's a Saturday. Oh, but we can't fill your shift. Man. Hey, I'm sorry about that. Man. So you really not gonna come if we can't? You know what? I'm really sorry, but yeah, I'm in the hands of the Lord. That's it. I gotta keep the feast of the Lord. They closed everything on Christmas. I was sick. I drove around for hours looking for something to eat. Everything was closed. I was hot. Popeyes was even closed. I was hot. Only thing they left open was Taco Bell and McDonald's. I was hot. I was hot. I had to go home and throw out the chicken. Yeah, Delvon, that chicken. Yeah, that good chicken I cooked. I throw that in there. Man, I was hot though. But you see how they can close everything for they weak pagan days, but then you can't even get a day off for the Sabbath. That's in the Bible. Don't they swear on the Bible when the president get in there? And Mr. President, shouldn't America be closed on the Sabbath? I don't think that's the Bible. I think that's a Satanist Bible they be swearing in on. That ain't the Bible of the Lord. That Bible look a little suspect. You ever seen that old Bible? That Bible look a little suspect. I don't think that's the Bible of the Lord. I think that's something else. You understand? All right, read on.
Verse 51. In the self same manner wrote he to the whole kingdom, and appointed overseers over all the people, commanded the cities of Judah to sacrifice.
So now what he did was, when he did all of that, he ransacked Israel, ransacked Jerusalem, then he put overseers over the land to make sure the Negroes and Latinos, make sure they're not keeping the Sabbath, and make sure they defiling it. Make sure. I need to make sure, because forget everybody else, forget overthrowing everybody else. If I get Israel, I get everything. I get the world. Why do you think the other nations were so pressed to get Israel? Always pressed to get Israel. Because if I get Israel, I get the world. Who America got in captivity right now? And what they got? The world. Who's sitting in America in these seats in captivity right now? You. We're not getting whipped anymore. Y'all don't know what captivity is. You're in an invisible prison. Because can you travel wherever you want? You need a passport. And now you need a COVID shot. Can you go and take a boat and drop and go on the water and Just sail on the water? That Coast Guard gonna get you. They gonna pull up in their little boats. Where you going? You need to go back over there. You out of jurisdiction. That ain't freedom. Hey, look, I just want to sail. Can I just go this way? No. Mess around and get shot down. Can't even cross a border. Need ID. Need a. How many of y'all got a social security card? You a number. You get caught without an ID, you can get a ticket. And if your ID expires, you better go get a new one. You better have some form of ID. Is that freedom? What if we all was like, man, to hell with ID. I don't want to carry this no more. No. Please, you are in captivity. And who needs all this ID? He keeping track of you. All of that. So this is not freedom. It's the same thing they did back then, right? Read.
City by city. Then many of the people were gathered unto them, to wit, every one that forsook the law. And so they committed evils in the land, and drove the Israelites into secret places, even wheresoever they could flee for succor. Now the 15th day of the month,
15th day of the month,
casual, the 145th year, they set up the abomination of the desolation upon the altar.
You see that? The abomination of desolation upon the altar. Y'all know what the altar of the Lord is, right? That's literally where we gave the sacrifices. What did they do? Read.
And build idol altars throughout the cities of Judah on every side, and burnt incense at the doors of their houses and in their streets.
So instead of that nice frankincense and myrrh that the Most High liked, that sweet savor, they was burning that butt naked. That's what they was burning. That Egyptian musk. Y'all know that. Y'all don't play like y'all know that Egyptian musk. Y'all know y'all was burning that when y'all was in the world thinking y'all was spiritual. I'm burning my Egyptian musk in my house. Who said they didn't do that? Caleb, you didn't do that? You know, back when black people used to have like the jaguar statue in the house and all that. You know, you had that one auntie had the jaguar statue and the leopard print. She was burning that Egyptian musk in the house. Y'all know what it is. Stop acting like y'all didn't grow up black. That's what they was burning in the temple of the Lord. The Lord said he liked that frankincense and myrrh. What I'm about to light right now. What happened to the sons of Aaron when they burnt the wrong incense? Got put to death. So the Lord he likes certain smells. The Lord likes certain smells. But you know what Esau was doing? He was burning that Egyptian musk. Read.
When they had rent in pieces the books of the law.
And do you know what they did? They ripped all of the law. Ripped all of the books of the law. Ripped all of the books of the law, right? Read.
Which they found. They burnt them with fire.
And they burnt the books of the law with fire. Read.
And whosoever was found with any book of the testament, or if any committed to the law, the king's commandments was that they should put him to death. Thus did they by their authority unto the Israelites every month, to as many as were found in the cities. Now the 25th day of the month, they did sacrifice unto the idol altar, which was upon the altar of God.
Read.
At which time, according to the commandment, they put to death certain women that had caused their children to be circumcised.
So certain women was circumcising their babies on the low. So they destroying the temple, they sacrificing swine flesh on the temple, they burning that bootylicious and all of that in the temple. All right. They getting the blood of the saints and putting it in the sanctuary. They doing all of that, right? And then on top of that, when they get the children that were circumcised by the mother that forsook the laws, the king's commandment, and still circumcised their kids, They were killing the women and the children. What's this? Read.
They hanged the infants by their necks and wrecked the houses and slew them.
Now, I mean, you got to be sick to hang an infant. They was hanging infants. That's like my newborn baby right now. That's like my little sister, my nephew. Imagine somebody coming in here and hanging him. Can you imagine that? A child, an infant? That's what this dude was doing, right? Did you have your hand for him?
Yeah.
What? It's a baby, a little baby, newborn baby, right? Hanging newborn babies, read.
And slew them that had circumcised them.
Mm-hmm.
Howbeit, many in Israel were fully revolved and confirmed in themselves not to eat any unclean thing. Wherefore, the rather to die, that they might not be defiled with meats.
So guess what? Y'all know that good old pork we like to eat? Our people would rather die than eat that. Some of our people was like, man, I'd rather die than eat that. You know what? I guess we gonna die today because I'm not eating that. Sisters was saying, look, I guess I gotta go ahead and take the death because I'm circumcising my child. Right? Read.
And that they might not profane the holy covenant. So then they died. And there were very great wrath upon Israel.
So that's what they did to the nation of Israel. They destroyed Israel. They destroyed the temple. They destroyed us as a people. They sacrificed idol flesh. They did idol worship, sacrificed to idols and swine's flesh in the temple, burnt all type of abominable incense in the temple, and completely destroyed it. All right. So let's go from there. Let's get First Maccabees. First Maccabees chapter 2. And Live, you can pick up that one.
First Maccabees chapter 2, verse 1. In those days arose Mattathias, the son of John.
Now, Mattathias. Who's Mattathias? Anybody know?
Levite.
Okay, he's a Levite. Jason? Okay. He's a son of John? Okay. Mattathias was a Levite. Okay. He was a son of John. All right. And he was a part of the Maccabee family. All right. Anybody know what Maccabees mean? Means hammer. All right. Why do you think they called them the Maccabees? Because they was going in on their enemies. They was putting in work. They was putting in real work against our enemies. So Mattathias stood up, right? Read.
In those days arose Mattathias, the son of John, the son of Simeon, a priest of the son of Jorid, from Jerusalem, and dwelt in Modin. And he had 5 sons, Johanan, called Caddis, Simon, called Dassi, Judas, who was called Maccabeus, Eleazar, called Averon, and Jonathan, whose surname was Aphis. And when he saw the blasphemies that were committed in Judah and Jerusalem, he said, woe is me. Wherefore was I born to see this misery of my people and of the holy city, and to dwell there, when it was delivered into the hand of the enemy, and the sanctuary into the hand of strangers.
So he was sad. He said, woe is me that I live to see Jerusalem destroyed and it given into the hands of our enemies. Right? Read.
Verse 8. Her temple is become as a man without glory.
Her
glorious vessels are carried away into captivity. Her infants are slain in the streets. Her young men with the sword of the enemy. What nation have not had a part in her kingdom and gotten of her spoils? All her ornaments are taken away. Of a free woman she has become a bondslave. And behold, our sanctuary, even our beauty and our glory.
So he was actually sad that this happened. He was not happy. He didn't just say, well, I guess this is what it is. We got to go ahead and conform to the Greeks. He was sad that this was happening. He was hurt that this was happening. When he seen this amongst his people, he did not want this to continue to take place. Right? Read.
Verse 12. And behold, our sanctuary, even our beauty and our glory.
The sanctuary, which was beautiful and was glorious, read.
Is laid waste. And the Gentiles have profaned it.
And the Gentiles have profaned it. Read.
To what end, therefore, shall we live any
He
longer?
didn't even want to live. He was like, man, there's no point for us to even live. They didn't profane our temple. They didn't took up, man. What point is it for us to even live if we got to live like this? I'd rather just be taken out of here. Read.
Then Mattathias and his sons rent their clothes and put on sackcloth and mourned very sore. In the meanwhile, the king's officers, such as compelled the people to revolt, came into the city Modin to make them sacrifice.
Now, the king's officer was like, look, okay, we about to go to, remember I told y'all about the king's officers that was put up in every land in Jerusalem that was making sure Israel did not keep the law? So you had one of the king's officers, he came to the land of Modin. This was where Mattathias was. So as Mattathias was there, let's see what happened.
Verse 16. And when many of Israel came into them, Mattathias also and his sons came together. Then answered the king's officers and said to Mattathias on this wise, Thou art a ruler and an honorable and great man in the city, and strengthened with sons and brethren.
You see the audacity of him to come to Mattathias, because he knew Mattathias was the leader. He said, Mattathias, this is the king's officer. He said, Mattathias, I know that you are a great man and a very honorable man, Mattathias. Y'all ever seen that movie 300? Remember when the dude came to talk to, what's the dude name? Yeah, he was the messenger. He was like the spokesperson. He came, I forgot Leonidas, even though they embellished that story. But remember he came to Leonidas and was telling Leonidas, you were a great ruler and a strong king. All you have to do is bow down to the true king and you'll be able to live and have rulership in your land. That's the same thing that this officer is talking and telling Mattathias. So once he was telling Mattathias this, what happened? Read.
Verse 18. Now therefore come thou first and fulfill the king's commandment, like as all the heathen have done, yea, and the other men of Judah also, and such as remain at Jerusalem.
So he like, Mattathias, you need to be the first one to sacrifice on this altar. How many of y'all are gonna do that? He like, you the leader. That's like somebody coming in here and they say, me and Iram or whatever, we lead in the congregation. They like, y'all gotta be the first ones to sacrifice on the altar. Because if we sacrifice on the altar, what everybody else gonna do? Normally, not anybody in here, but normally, everybody gonna follow the leader. I guess if Mattathias is doing it, I guess we gotta do it. What did Mattathias do? Read.
So shalt thou and thy house be in the number of the king's friends, and thou and thy children shall be honored with silver and with gold and many rewards.
All right, so let's skip real quick. Let's go down to let's read verse 19.
Verse 19. Then Mattathias answered and spake with a loud voice, though all the nations that are under the king's dominion obey him and fall away every one from the religion of their fathers and give consent to his commandments, yet will I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers.
So when the king's official came and told Mattathias, I need you to sacrifice, and Mattathias answered him and said, nah, we keeping the commandments. And you know what Mattathias did? He spoke up for his sons and his brothers. So his son couldn't be like, hey, Dad, hold on, what you talking about, Pop? Hey, Dad, I didn't say that. Mattathias spoke for his sons, and he said, we not doing it. Right, read.
God forbid that we should forsake the law and the ordinances. We will now hearken to the king's words to go from our religion, either on the right hand or the left.
You're like, we're not going on the right or the left. We're not even going to break it a little bit. We're not even going to break it just a smidget for you. That's what Mattathias said. He said, I'm the leader of this people, and I'm speaking. We ain't breaking no commandments. Right? Watch this, read.
Now when he had left speaking these words, there came one of the Jews in the sight of all to sacrifice on the altar, which was at Modin, according to the king's commandment.
And one of the Jews came to sacrifice on the altar. So that's like you just hear Mattathias say, we not breaking the laws of God, and then somebody in the back be like, I don't know what you talking about, Mattathias. I'm about to sacrifice this. Shoot, wrong. He can speak for himself. You know how Israel be. You speak for yourself. I'm going to go ahead and sacrifice this. Watch what happened. Read.
Which thing, when Mattathias saw, he was inflamed with zeal, and his reins trembled. Neither could he forbear to show his anger.
He was so mad, he was shaking. You ever see somebody so mad they start shaking? That's how mad he was. Said his reins trembled. Read.
Neither could he forbear to show his anger according to judgment. Wherefore he ran and slew him upon the altar. Also the king's commissioner, who compelled men to sacrifice.
And then he said he slew him on that same altar. Mind you, this is an Israelite now. And then he slew the king's officers. This is Mattathias. Mattathias went out blazing, killed him. After he killed all the officers, slew him on the altar, Mattathias went through the city and started ransacking all of the altars, tearing them down, running in the city, tearing the altars down, killing all of the officers, doing the whole nine. He made a war cry and got a whole bunch of Israelites to follow him. And they fled into the wilderness. Y'all know that term guerrilla warfare? He was the first one to do guerrilla warfare. They went into the wilderness. The other nations, they couldn't deal with it. They're like, man, they know the terrain over there. I don't know. I ain't trying to mess with them boys out there. He was putting the heathens down because they stood up for the laws of the Most High God. What makes you think that we are not supposed to stand up for the laws of the Most High God? Our forefathers stood up for the laws of God. What you think we're supposed to do? We got to do the same thing. The temple was destroyed, but Mattathias had a mission, and his mission was to get the temple back. So from this point on, Mattathias, you can read all the first Maccabees, all the second Maccabees. Get second Maccabees. Actually, get first Maccabees 3-1. Yeah, 3-1. You got it. Read.
First Maccabees chapter 3 and verse 1. Then his son Judas, called Maccabees, rose up in his stead, and all his brethren helped him. And so did all they that held with his father. And they fought with cheerfulness in battle. The battle of Israel.
And they fought with cheerfulness. You know what that means? You ever seen somebody that was cheerful? They was happy to fight. Like, hey, I'm about to go fight. This is what we about to do with cheerfulness. They had many battles against the Greeks, and wasn't nobody afraid. They was happy. That was like, this is what we about to go do. Y'all ever seen a war movie where I'll use 300 again. Y'all ever seen 300? Y'all remember that scene where one of the soldiers that wasn't a part of the Spartan army was scared, but then the other soldiers was laughing and joking, and then the war was coming and they all smiling. That's really what Israel was. They was happy. It's like they go into battle and they see all these chariots and all these horses and all these men coming against them with battle, and they smiling. They like, you ready? How many you gonna kill? Shit, I'm trying to take out like 10. Shoot, before I die, I want to take out 11. That's literally what they were thinking. If I could just get 5, I'm good. That's some good 5 ones. If I could take out 5, that's their mind. This is what they was going through when they was going to battle. You gotta go read about these brothers. These brothers had the heathen on ice. They was scared. Right? Watch this, read.
So he gave his people great honor. He put on a breastplate as a giant.
And he put on a breastplate, right? Read, as a giant, read.
And they girt his warlike harness about him. And he made battles, protecting the host with his sword. And his axe, he was like a lion. And like a lion's whelp, roaring for his prey. For he pursued the wicked and sought them out. He burnt up those that vexed his people.
He said he burnt up those that vexed his people, killed them. So guess what? When y'all drinking tonight, y'all got to think about Mattathias. Y'all clap up for Mattathias. Y'all gotta, hey, tonight, brothers, we gotta put one in the air for Mattathias and his sons and Judas Maccabees. We gotta put in Simeon. We gotta put one up for him and take a shot to him and say, them brothers fought battle. And you know what? You get encouraged and strong like these brothers were. And when you think about your life and your life being hard, think about what they went through. Think about them seeing babies slain in the street. When you get discouraged in your life and the commandments is getting tough at your job, or your family is ridiculing you for keeping the commandments, and everybody talking about you, People looking at you weird because you're wearing a headscarf and you're wearing a dress. People looking at you weird because your beard used to be a ladies' man before when you used to cut your beard, but now you're growing your beard. They're like, we just don't like you with your beard no more. People start telling you, I missed it. Your grandma tell you, baby, I missed it when you were clean cut. You gotta say, well, Granny, I serve the Lord. And you gotta think about the Maccabees. When your boss tell you, Mr. Waller, I don't know who last name is Waller, but Mr. Waller, if you don't come in to work tomorrow, you fired. No, I quit. Y'all looking at me like y'all deer caught in the headlights. I'm serious. Like, I don't know what he's talking about. I need my job. I got bills. I got rent. I got these kids. To hell with it. If it's gonna cause me to go against the Lord, I'm not doing it. Y'all gotta have that same mentality. Y'all gotta think about what the Maccabees was going through. None of our lives is getting taken right now. You telling me we can't walk off a job? I can. And guess what? I'm gonna stand boldly and look crazy. Man, that brother crazy. You're right, I am crazy. For the Lord, absolutely. Because I believe that it's something greater than here. Look, you can take this life, whatever you want in this life. You want to go get drunk, go have fun, go pop pills, go live your life, go get your job and your fancy cars and do all that. Man, do all of that if that's what your heart desires. But I don't desire that. I desire to be with the Lord. Because I got faith, real faith. That's what the Maccabees had. They didn't care about what was going on. And yeah, it hurt them. You don't think it hurt them to see their brothers slain in the street? See infants slain in the street? See the temple desolate? The temple just completely destroyed? But they stood up and they fought for the commandments of the Most High God. What are you going to fight for? You going to fight for the commandments of the Most High God like these brothers did? Or are you going to tuck your tail? Hey, we willing to do this by ourselves. It is what it is. We got to stand for the Lord like these brothers did. They fought valiantly and they won many wars. And they won so many wars to where they were able to get the temple back and rededicate it. And that's why we sitting here celebrating dedication today. All praise. Give it up for the Most High. The brothers fought. The brothers fought. All right. They destroyed all the ungodly. Y'all read First Maccabees. Y'all should read all the Maccabees, but y'all should read all the Maccabees, but read First Maccabees 3, 1 through 25, and you can see that they fought. All right, they fought valiantly. All right, they fought to the death. All right, so let's go for the sake of time. Let's go to 2 Maccabees chapter 10. Second Maccabees chapter 10. Live, you can get this one. I'll show the last one. You get this one. Start at verse 1.
2 Maccabees chapter 10, verse 1. Now Maccabees and his company, the Lord guiding them, recovered the temple and the city.
They recovered the temple and the city. Read.
But the altars which the heathen had built in the open street, and also the chapels, they pulled down.
So all the altars that the heathen built in Jerusalem and all the temples that the heathen built, they pulled them down. Read.
And having cleansed the temple, they made another altar.
And they cleansed the temple because the temple had all type of profane things in it. So they had to cleanse the temple. Read.
And striking stones, they took fire out of them. And offered a sacrifice after 2 years. And set forth incense and lights and showbread.
Read.
When that was done, they fell flat down and besought the Lord that they might come no more into such troubles. But if they sin any more against him, that he himself would chasten them with mercy, and that they might not be delivered unto the blasphemous and barbarous nations.
So what they did was they told the Lord, look, please be with us and allow us to have mercy. All right, read.
Now upon the same day, that the strangers profaned the temple, on the very same day it was cleansed again. Even the 5 and 20th day of the same month, which is cast loose.
So now it says, now upon the same day that the strangers profaned the temple, on the very same day it was cleansed again, even the 5 and 20th day of the same month, which is cast loose. So today is what? We would consider it at this time the month's cast live or cast loose. All right. On the 20th, 25th day. All right. 25th day. Most High told them we got to cleanse this temple. Right, read.
Verse 6. And they kept the 8 days with gladness, as in the feast of the tabernacles, remembering that not long before they had held the feast of the tabernacles, when as they wandered in the mountains and dens like beasts, therefore they bare branches and fair boughs and palms also, and sang psalms unto him that had given them good success in cleansing his place.
And they cleansed the temple. All right, they cleansed the temple and they kept a feast 8 days. Right, read. So the feast of dedication is an 8-day feast. All right, it's an 8-day feast of partying and gladness. All right, that's why we're having a party on Saturday, and then we're going to follow that up with a new moon, and then we're going to follow that up with the 8th day. We're going to have a celebration. Okay, it's an 8-day celebration. Now, back in the day, we used to celebrate all 8 days, but since we're in captivity, we only can do what? This year we doing like 5 days, 4 days, 4 days out of the 8. Read.
Verse 8. They ordained also by a common statute and decree that every year those days should be kept of the whole nation of the Jews. And this was the end of Antiochus, called Epiphanes. Now we will declare the acts of Antiochus Epicter, who was the son of this wicked man, gathering briefly the calamities of the wars. So when he was come to the crown, he set one Lysias over the affairs of his realm, and appointed him his chief governor of Celesyria and Phoenice. For Ptolemies, that was called.
Okay, go from there. Go. Let's read. Go from there. Give me that. I'm sorry. Give me that Where's that precept? Rom. Kept like tabernacles. I need that one.
Oh, we just read it.
Yeah, read it again.
Verse 6.
I read over. Read that one more time.
2 Maccabees chapter 10, verse 6. And they kept the 8 days with gladness, as in the feast of the tabernacle.
I glanced over that. Salakia family. So the reason why this is a Sabbath is because it's supposed to be kept in the manner of tabernacles. Did everybody see that? Read it one more time.
And they kept the 8 days with gladness, as in the feast of the tabernacles. Remembering that not long before they had held the feast of the tabernacle.
Right. So dedication is to be kept like what feast? Tabernacles. So it's kept just like tabernacles. So on the first and the last day of tabernacles is a what? It's a Sabbath. And this is why dedication is a Sabbath. All right. So remember, it is to be kept like tabernacles. Everybody got that? So this is why we keep it like tabernacles. Okay. Let's go from there real quick. All right. Let's go to John 10 and 22.
John chapter 10 and verse 22. And it was at Jerusalem the feast of dedication.
The feast of what?
The feast of dedication.
Read.
And it was winter. Yahushua walked in the temple of Solomon's porch. Then came the Jews round about him.
So who came to keep the feast of dedication? Yahushua. And it was what season? All right. It was winter. 9th month, 25th day of the month. All right. This is when we keep our feast of dedication. And did Christ keep it? He kept it. So did Christ recognize the Maccabees? Did he respect the Maccabees? He did. So what do we got to do, family? Did Christ keep Christmas? But did he keep dedication? Then what do you got to keep? There you go. So we keep dedication just like Christ kept it, and it is a feast just like tabernacle. So the first and the last day is a Sabbath. So that means no work. No servile work on the first and the last day of dedication, just like tabernacles. And we recognize this day as the Maccabees rededicating the temple, all right, of the Most High God from the hands of our enemies. All right. The heathens destroyed the temple, and the Maccabees and our forefathers rededicated it after the heathens were destroyed out of it. All right, so let's get the Most High hand. So this is why we keep dedication. So does everybody understand dedication? What is dedication? Delvon? Big Delvon.
Rededicating the temple.
Okay, calm. Who did we rededicate the temple from? No, we okay. Or who did we get the temple back from? That took it over. The Greeks, yes. Caleb, you helping your brother over there, man. You
Let brotherly love continue.
Hey, nah, I'm messing with y'all. But yes, so just in layman terms, brothers, the temple was rededicated because the temple was decimated by the Greeks. The Greeks destroyed it. The Maccabees reclaimed it and rededicated it. And this is why we celebrate dedication. All right, and you can read that history in 1st and 2nd Maccabees. And the temple is important. Why? Communication with the Most High God. So the heathens destroyed the temple. Why? To cut that communication off. Because if they cut the communication off from us and the Most High, would the Most High fight for us? No, he wouldn't. But if we have communication with the Most High God, he'll fight for us, right? So the temple is very important for communication with the Lord. The heathens destroyed it, sacrificed swine's flesh on it. What else did they do in there? Sprinkle blood everywhere. What else they do in there? Yeah, they did. They laid with harlots in it. I didn't bring that out. They did. Yeah. Bring it out. Let's bring it out. Hey, Caleb, you called it, man. That's the precept king in training right there, man. That brother. 2nd Maccabees 6. Yeah, read it. Let's read it real quick. Nah, they did. They had sexual intercourse in the temple of the Most High God. They had orgies in the temple of God. Man, I'm telling you. Jay Sneaks. Nah, you can't buy nothing tonight, unfortunately, brother. You can cook though, Jay Sneaks. You can cook, but you just can't buy anything, man. Yeah, you can't buy anything. And for those that want to know where the feast days are, all you guys got to do is go to our YouTube channel, go to the community. Let me just do it for y'all, because I do it all the time. But for those that don't know, if you want to know where BOW is keeping their feast, or when BOW is keeping all of their feasts, even though we're coming to the end of this year, that's all you got to do. All right, all you got to do is go to our page. Hold on, I thought I had it. Go to our page. All right. So when you get to our page, all you got to do is go to the community. All right. Scroll down, and then boom. All of our feast days for the entire year is right here. All right. Vow feast day calendar. All right. We're coming up to the end. All right. But here's all our feast days. So our next feast that we will be keeping will be Nicanor and Purim. All right. But dedication is here. All right. So this all our feast days. Even with our new moons. All right. Even with our new moons. All right. So y'all go check that out. Right now we're in the 9th month. The 9th month of the 25th day. All right. But just so everybody know, this is where you can find our feast days. So just go to our channel, go to community. All right. Community, boom, and then scroll down. And you'll see the feast days. All right, Con? All right, just for those that are online. All right. So read that real quick before we close out.
2nd Maccabees chapter 6, verse 4. For the temple was filled with riot and reveling by the Gentiles, who dallied with harlots and had to do with women within the circuit of the holy places.
They had intercourse with the women in the temple. That's how disgusting and evil these bastards were. All right. So, but we rededicated it. We reclaimed it back. And happy feast of dedication, Israel. So if you guys are in the LA area, we will be having a little gathering on Saturday, 4:30 class, and then after we'll be hanging out, having food and drinks and just kicking it, and then we'll be celebrating our dedication, and then Sunday we got another get together, and Monday we got another get together. So we're gonna be celebrating this dedication. So if you're in your respective areas, celebrate this day for the Lord. All right. Huh? All right, Israel. We love everybody that's online. I want to say thank you for everybody that's online for your support. We love you guys. We love you, online family. You guys stick in there, hang in there, because we will begin traveling real soon. So don't worry. We'll be touching you guys real soon. But we do love and appreciate our online family. And you guys have a blessed night. All right, shalom, family. Shalom.